What is going on, podcast people on a podcast?
Welcome back to We Talk Words Good. I am Amanaman, or Eden, from Eden's Figure Collection.
And I am Jaquil, or David, from KR Retro Figure. So first we should explain the difference between knockoff and bootleg. A knockoff is a toy which is trying to replicate, but not exactly copy, another movie. So, a movie like Ratatouille would be a knockoff of Ratatouille, but not a bootleg of Ratatouille. So basically, if there is a figure, just a line thing on top of my head, of course, is the Galaxy Warriors. The Galaxy Warriors are obviously trying to be figures that are like Motu. The legs are the same, they have the same type of body, everything's the same scale, they look like Motu figures, but no figure is directly trying to be like another Motu figure. Except for Rahh and Deevil are barely, possibly He-Man and Skeletor, but not that much.
I mean, they kind of... Rahh... Are you saying Rahh is not that much trying to be He-Man?
I mean, I don't know.
You know who he is.
Nothing's really the same except for the hair is kind of similar. I mean, Rahh is more of a knockoff than a bootleg of He-Man.
Rahh is like a blonde, human, muscly character with a body extremely similar to Motu. Shortly...
Similar to me. You mean exactly like Motu?
It's not exact. There are differences, like the belt.
Well, yeah, but it's not the that's not the body. That's just clothes.
Well, it's part of the mold. I meant the mold.
Well, all I'm saying is that with Rahh, sure, he might be similar to He-Man, but if you look at both figures, the only really similarity is the fact that he's blonde. And his hair is more brown to me than blonde. But yeah, He-Man's more of a barbarian type, tough guy, when Rahh is just any other Galaxy Warrior. He's not the big, tough guy in the line.
Yeah, but I mean, part of the He-Man being the big, tough guy is from comics and the show that really kind of showed the story, whereas with the Galaxy Warriors, it's anyone's guess.
Anyone's guess. Yeah, I guess I kind of see that.
So Rahh could be the big, strong guy, the leader, the hero, but we don't really know.
If I'd have to choose a gang of the big guys, the big tough guys, the leader, the number one would be Sahak.
Oh my gosh.
And then under Sahak's guidance would then be Rahh, not Deevil, would be Rahh and Magnon.
Yeah, for me it'd be for the good side, it would definitely be Rahh leading, maybe Magnon is second in command. But then for the villains, it is easily Deevil as the top.
I don't think so.
I think second in command there would be Thor. I mean,
I do believe Thor is the big guy, and more second in command is Deevil.
Well, Deevil and Rahh are the ones that came first, and Thor and Magnon are both...
Why is Deevil and Rahh the ones that came first? I thought it was multiple.
Well, so the first four, which I believe in the design process, Rahh and Deevil were the first two created. That's just my opinion. But Rahh, Deevil, Baltard, and Magnon were the first four released. And then Thor is basically the redesign of Deevil that they did for version 2 and then version 3. They basically took his head mold, completely changed the color scheme, and then modified the head mold a bit and created Thor, a completely new character.
Thor is more of a big tough guy than I think Thor is more of a big tough guy when maybe if we're thinking of like the power, maybe Deevil would have more power, but would be less of like a big tough guy. Or Deevil, yeah, did I say Deevil? Like
Yeah.
Deevil has more power, but I'd say he's less of a big tough bad guy, and Thor would be more of the tough bad guy. Because he's really got the whole evil thing going on. Like he's literally red.
Yeah, I think I can agree with that. I think Deevil would be like
The evil, like the Horde Prime.
I think Deevil would be kind of like the leader, the head of the bad guys, whereas Thor is more in, like the evil schemes and actually in the battles.
Yeah, where like Deevil is the main the main evil commander. Thor would be more of like the tough evil like guy that's actually doing the stuff. So like Deevil would say, Deevil would make the plans, like Thor go do this, and then Thor would go out and actually do the stuff.
Yeah, that's what I
more fear. The way that like Hordak, when people think of bad guys in Motu, they think of like Skeletor and Hordak, and not as much of Horde Prime. When Horde Prime's like the crazy, powerful evil.
Yeah. What would you say for the rest of the characters? Because I think I have
Who mean the rest of the characters? Like who's
like what side would they be on? Because for some of them it's kind of hard. Because you'd want an even split between 7 characters on each side, but I feel like there's a lot more evil looking characters than heroes. So who would be your picks?
Well, I'm confused. You're asking.
Just what which out of the Galaxy Warriors characters, who do you think are the good guys and who do you think are the villains?
Oh, not like okay, I see what you mean. You're not asking like how would they rank in.
No, I'm not asking for like an in-depth rank or anything. But
of course you have Deevil. We already spoke of Deevil and Thor.
We've already spoken of Deevil, Thor, and then Rahh and Magnon. I think we both agreed were
Rahh, Magnon, good guys. Deevil, Thor, bad guys. I'd put Baltard as probably like a. So okay, there's 2 ways to go here. Baltard would either be a dumb good guy or a dumb bad guy.
Yeah,
he could.
I see him as a bad guy personally.
Wait, what would you say? Dumb good guy?
I see him as a dumb bad guy.
Yeah, me too. So so because everything in most in most storylines like cartoons and toy lines, there is a dumb bad guy. Yeah. So I'd think of as Baltard as like the Beast Man type.
Yeah, me too.
I would put Dragoon. I'd actually put Dragoon on the good guys.
Really?
I think he looks evil, but in reality, he'd just be like a tough, like badass good guy.
That's Yig for me. I think Dragoon's evil, but yeah, for Yig, I totally can see him being like a good guy. I don't know. I mean, Dragoon and Yig are both similar characters, and they're both supposed to be at least very evil looking. But I can totally see Yig being a good guy. Dragoon, I feel like he's literally like a red dragon character.
Yeah, he has an evil red guy.
That's true.
Him is both sides. I'd put Huk as a bad guy.
Really? I totally see as good guys. I mean,
so here's my logic here. There's already a lot of just human good guys. So I see Triton, Rahh, and Deevil as all good guys.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I see Huk as a bad guy is because he's more of like a war barbarian, not barbarian, but like Viking looking guy.
Mm-hmm.
That would seem more like he would go to like murder villages. He'd be like on a long ship with like spikes to go raid a town and kill everybody. and
Yeah.
imprison.
Yeah, for me, I think. I mean, I can see that, but for me, I think if I chose one of the humans to be to be a villain, I might lean towards Triton. I don't know why. He just seems like he could be like an evil character, like a very strong evil character. But you mentioned Spikes as being like an evil character with Huk, and I can totally see that, and I think that might be
Yeah,
where
they could be like the evil team.
yeah. But
They could be like the evil team led by Thor.
yeah, I can totally see Spikes also being like a very noble warrior on the hero's side. You know, like a wise,
Willing to die
strong.
for his cause. Just
Yeah,
going and trying to take out an entire army with just his axe or whatever. Axe and a shield, going out on a horse trying to. Yeah, I could see that. I could very well see that
and
as well.
as far as horse, like the actual Galaxy Warriors beast, I could totally see him pairing with Spikes and then just riding off into battle.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd put. Who else have we not done? Anubi, Dino Man, and Tiger Man.
That's right. All right. Who do you want to start with?
This is hard because these guys all seem. Oh, so we haven't done Sahak either.
Oh my gosh! How did we forget Sahak?
So the problem that I'm having here is that a lot of these guys seem to me like they would fit better as good guys. Anubi, we can both agree, has to be a good guy.
I thought that was going to be just me, but yes, I think Anubi would be a very awesome good guy, despite being literally a man.
Dino Man, I feel like he could be more of a neutral character.
Dino Man,
he'd be fully evil, but he also doesn't seem like he would be fully good.
Yeah, I think he would have. I think I can see him, like kind of staying out of the battle mostly, but
right.
Having his intentions, some good, some evil, that are, sometimes he would pop into battle or something.
I feel like before, instead of trying to fight for a bigger cause, he'd be more fighting for himself if there was something that would benefit him.
Yeah, totally.
So Sahak, as much as I want to say good guy, I feel like he just kind of has to be like a bad guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think for you,
I can kind of see him as like the top. So like, whereas Thor is like the top tough guy, Sahak would be more of the tough, scheming warrior. That would be like the top of the people led by Thor.
Dude, I see like maybe as the bad guys have like a couple different sections led by people, and so everybody's led by like Deevil and then Thor. But I can totally see like Spikes being higher ranked than Sahak if Spikes was on the bad side. But
Spikes higher than Sahak, really?
Yeah, because I see Spikes as like a high ranked, but I see Sahak as like he could be like scheming. I see Sahak as like being the best warrior on the team that wasn't ranked like very high. The
thing is that I'm thinking about this is that with Sahak, he just kind of seems like he'd be a very like technical and smart person. So he would be able to use his powers as like a snake. He probably has some venom or whatever, and use his like abilities. He's probably fast, has good reflexes. He's strong, and he could use those to his advantage to be a better. So whereas Spikes is more of a guy that's just strong and a strong warrior, but he's just willing to risk everything just to go out and kill as many people as possible.
Yeah.
Sahak would not only be trying to kill as many people as possible, but also trying to keep himself and the people that he's leading safe because he's more of a schemer. Whereas Spikes, I think, would be willing to just be like, everybody's dead except for me. Like, instead of retreating, instead of going back and trying to make a better plan, I'm gonna take my horse, take my axe, take my shield, and just ride right into this army and try to take out as many people as I possibly can to help. Like, willing to give his life and sacrifice for the bad guys. Whereas Sahak would be like, we gotta play this smart. We might lose this in the short run, but in the long run, if I come back and gather maybe more people, make a better plan, we can win in the long run.
Yeah, and
like they might have won the fight, but they won the war. Whereas Spikes would be like, they can't win the fight.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go in here, Steve, and I'm gonna try to win the fight.
I totally see that, which is why I think they would rank Spikes higher because of, you know, how determined he is to fight. But I think Sahak would be kind of
I think Sahak would be at least the same level as Spikes, if not higher. Now, I might be biased here because he is my favorite character, but because I'm thinking about like how he could use his his not only like he hit like not only his strength and like agility basically, but also his wits to with the enemy and make good plans. They would rank him higher just because he would be the one who was leading, and Spikes would be working along with Sahak, because if they have brains and like power, then they are an unstoppable duo. So I could see Spikes and Sahak as being like kind of like an unlikely unstoppable duo.
Yeah, I see, and I can see that, but I also kind of see Sahak as like sort of an underestimated character by some of the like higher ranking members.
Unless Sahak just got really unlucky and was given 1,000,000 Tritons, then he would not have the ability to have everybody disobey him so much that it just ruined his entire reputation as well.
If
there was smart and like a good planner that with as Spikes as his partner wouldn't be underestimated, because they would win every single fight. Like, it would be incredibly hard to win. The only way that I could see them beating Sahak is, first of all, they have to get through Spikes, which would already be hard. And then they'd have to also outwit Sahak, because, like, just trying to kill Sahak because you're more powerful than him, I don't see as being very possible, because you're never going to get him in a situation where that would be possible.
Yeah, I can see.
It could be like an easy thing where it's like, it's just you and me, Sahak, and then you guys start fighting and you immediately cut his head off. It'd be like, just you and me, Sahak, and you guys start fighting, and then somebody else comes out, starts also beating you up. Sahak's able to escape, and then he makes a better plan to then come back and whatever.
Yeah, I think if there was like a Galaxy Warriors TV show or movie or something, it'd be kind of cool to see. Like, I can kind of picture Sahak being like underestimated as a warrior. Then he ends up, you know, later in the show getting promoted and finally getting the honor he deserves, and then like completely, you know, making the bad guys stronger.
I don't see Sahak as the kind of warrior that would be just going into battle. He would use his like intellect and wits to create a better plan where he can use his army and power to have like a better position over whoever he's fighting.
Whatever it would
be. Like, who he is, you know, climax of Sahak's career, you know?
Oh yeah, and I totally see that too. You know, he's a very smart and
very smart and powerful character who would go along perfectly with Spikes.
Oh, totally. And then we just have Tiger Man. And
Tiger Man, I think full neutral here.
Yeah, I like I don't know. I don't know whether he'd be good or evil, but it's kind of even hard to see Spikes, out in a battlefield. And so I totally see him as kind of like the Moss Man of Galaxy Warriors or something, where he's kind of like more neutral.
Yeah. I see Tiger like a full neutral. Like, if he ever does decide to go into war, it is for fully his benefit.
Yeah.
But that if a thing will benefit him, he won't even decide to go into war.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that, but I can also see him as like also a very powerful good guy warrior.
I can see that too, yeah.
Like, it's either full neutral or full good. Like, he's full something, and he's not full bad.
Yeah. He's either full neutral or he's full good, doing it to kind of, protect, the people.
I can see him working very closely with Sahak and Spikes as like a lower ranking, but higher ranking among warriors with those being led by them.
Yeah.
Whereas, so Sahak leading like the my question now is, if you had to, and this, think of it as not trying to be like a show where, rooting for the good guys always win, they have plot armor, they can't win, as just a practical, if there was good and bad, so Deevil versus Rahh.
Yeah.
If that was the battle, who do you think would come out victorious in the long run?
I think easily the bad guys, if they've got both, or like Thor, Spikes, and Sahak all, together.
I see Deevil along with Thor, Spikes, and Sahak being an unstoppable force.
Yeah. If that's another reason why it might be better if Spikes was a hero, because then it would kind of even it out a bit more. Maybe Rahh is in battle as well, and he's very powerful in battle, because I can very much see Rahh being like a strong warrior. So if Spikes were a good guy and that was the case, I think it would be a bit more equal and long lasting. But I still probably see the bad guys winning in the long run, but it's a lot more.
Yeah, long lasting, many deaths.
Yeah,
I see in the end the way that so I do see in the end the bad guys winning, and the way that they would end up doing it is they'd put Sahak's army. So mostly with Sahak as a leader, instead of him being a guy that does go out into battle, he would do more of the technical, like, planning and like guiding aspect of it, and less of a warrior. Whereas Spikes would be guiding but also leading the war.
Yeah.
The way that they would do it is they put whenever Spikes' army was gonna come and attack and do their thing, Thor would put Sahak's army up against them, and I do see Spike's army beating Sahak's army most of the time, because just the strength aspect of it isn't gonna or just the good plan aspect of it with Sahak's game isn't going to be enough, just with sheer strength of Spikes and his army to take them out. I think it would be a very long-lasting battle, those two armies against each other. But in the end, I think many lives would be lost, and almost everybody would die, and in the end, Sahak, or they would have to. So there's two ways that the battle could end. It could end with the sheer strength of Spike's army taking out Sahak, and they kill Sahak, and they win that war. And if that happened, I would see the good guys winning. But if what the bad guys could do is they could get, since not everybody is as strong as Spike's, if they killed Spike's army and got it down to just Spike's, he would be willing to go out and die.
Yeah.
For the greater good. But that would end up hurting him because he would go and gloriously somehow take out Sahak, but the only way that he could possibly do it is like a kamikaze type thing where he takes his horse and whatever and he kills Sahak, but the way that he does it ends up with him dying as well. Like just like getting Sahak, towards like an ocean or a cliffside, and just Sahak's not thinking, Spikes is gonna just come and ram him, but then Spikes just with him and his horse just charge, and they both just come in, hit Sahak. All of them fly off.
Yeah.
And
oh yeah, I can totally see that.
They all die, and Spikes was willing to do this. Rahh is like, just myself is not going to be enough to win this war. And Deevil and Thor against, at that point, it would be like Rahh and Magnon, really. And Rahh and Magnon would not be enough to beat Deevil and Thor, and they would end up winning.
Yeah, and yeah, I totally agree with that. That's, I mean, you said it pretty well. Spikes would, I can totally see Spikes, obliterating them, or at least sacrificing himself against Sahak or something. But I seeing like Thor also being in the battle is where I can get at it being a bit more even, with like Thor maybe being a pretty powerful enemy. Not as powerful as Spikes, of course, but with Sahak's wits possibly even defeating Spikes.
Fully defeating
Spikes is, of course, very powerful.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about horse. If we want to talk about the other three, Dinosaur, Tiger, and Mammoth.
I think we should just end the episode, because that, instead of just talking about bootlegs and knockoffs, we ended up just kind of creating a Galaxy Warriors universe.
We did.
And we even created like a storyline.
Yeah. Formo Toys, you should be taking notes.
I'm invested in this storyline that doesn't exist now.
I know. We got to do a follow-up episodes, bringing in other characters to this fantasy.
We could do one of like different lines.
Yeah, I mean, we've got to add, the fighters, Galaxy Heroes, the combo hero. I mean, those are the main ones, but even things like Turley Gang, Galaxy Adventure Girl, and different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and if we wanted to, we could also throw in the other three beasts, because, I mean, it kind of finish it off with the.
Yeah. What do you think? What beast goes with each?
Yeah. Well, horse. I think
they go to like a power. So obviously, horse. We already established Spikes.
We've established Spikes, but if not Spikes, I would definitely put it with Rahh. I think it could totally be a noble steed of Rahh.
What are all of those? Mammoth,
Mammoth and Dinosaur.
Mammoth, Tiger, and Dinosaur. Yeah, obviously, yeah. Horse goes to Spikes, but if not Spikes, Rahh. But I think he definitely would go to Spikes.
Yeah. I think Dinosaur. We've already kind of established Dino Man's thing. And I think Dinosaur could be kind of cool. Maybe not like a mount for Dino Man. Maybe just like almost like a pet or something. Like he's raising Dinosaur. as kind of like its own.
But I could also see like because dinosaur, he is a dinosaur after all.
Yeah.
So he would be like a very tough enemy.
Yeah.
So I would think he would definitely be on the bad side,
Mhm.
and I don't see Sahak as being the kind of fighter to have, or I guess warrior, to have a to have a specific one like mount or pet that they use to battle. So I think Dinosaur going to maybe Thor.
Okay. Yeah, I can.
They're both like top of the food chain, tough, like bad. Like, in most things, dinosaurs are portrayed as bad guys.
Yeah, I think, kind of building off of what I said about Dino Man too, I think it'd be cool if, if this was like an actual series with like comics or films or whatever, if there was a part of it, like an episode or a comic, where the war kind of went into like Dino Man's territory, and that's where Dino Man kind of came in for an episode or whatever. And Dino Man kind of has like an Aquaman type thing where he can like communicate with the dinosaurs, and it would be like he rides on Dinosaur and like fights the good and the bad off from his territory, and like the sauropods and Chinosaurs and whatnot from the Galaxy Heroes line could also be there and like kind of controlled by him almost.
Like another thing, building off of the neutral aspect of the Dino Man character,
Yeah,
he could do a thing where Thor and Sahak and all the good, like top, like bad guys come in and say, "We need an animal. Like we need someone that can be a top. That can be my mount." Thor's like, "We can that may be my mount, my like noble warrior pet."
yeah,
And Dino Man's like, "What's in it for me?" And they explain something with like pay, or they give him territory and protection.
yeah.
So so he's just left to live his peaceful life with his pets, and he goes, I know someone that's perfect. And he goes to Dinosaur and tells him, "You're gonna go and be as loyal as you possibly can in your lifetime for Thor."
Oh yeah, I think that I love that. And if the battle does ever come to Dino Man, maybe he is, because of the agreement or whatever, fighting a bit more with the evil side just because of that, for his own benefit. And we could see maybe Dino Man would be riding one of the like dragons from like the Imperial like knights and daggers or whatever it is.
What is dragon? It's like yeah, dragons and daggers.
Yeah, I think yeah, something like that. But it'd be cool, like any like dinosaur mount or like Chinosaur whatever, that is like a Motu knockoff or something, could be like from the land that Dino Man owns, from Dino Man's territory, and he can like Aqua style communicate with the dinosaurs.
I think a really great storyline for Dino Man is so the thing happens where he does work with the bad guys, but really not working with the bad guys, and he's more of just lending his like animal that he can control. He's lending it to the bad guys, and in exchange, the bad guys are like, "Yeah, we'll give you a little more territory and protection." But because the bad guys are bad, they have Dino Man as like their least priority. And instead of having him like, there's this thing that we need. Like Thor needs this dinosaur because he uses this dinosaur as his warrior pet.
Yeah.
But instead of thinking about that, and so that would be like a reason to fully like have him as Dino Man as one of their top priorities, they still are like, we don't care. What's he gonna do? You know, he's just this puny guy who likes animals and whatever. What is he gonna do? He can't do anything. So they have him as like low priority. They're not really protecting. Like they see someone invading them, they turn the other way. Whatever. They don't really care. So eventually, the good guys get word of this, that Dino Man is working with them. So they're like, we got to go take out Dino Man. If he's helping with the bad guys, we got to go take him out. So they go and they try, and they're expecting this pushback from the bad guys. But since the bad guys have Dino Man such a low priority, they don't care at all. So they infiltrate. They get in, and they're like, we're not getting any like pushback at all. They go to Dino Man and say, hey, you got to stop working with these bad guys. They are not fighting for a good cause. And they're like, Dino Man thinks about it. He's like, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to give up because this benefits me a lot. I get protection. I get land. And then they go, we just easily got in and infiltrated. Like, how do you think we got in here so easily? And he thinks about it, and he's like, doesn't believe them because he's already like working with the guys, so he doesn't believe them. And they're like, okay, we'll prove it. And they go kill the entire army that's supposed to be protecting. And they come back and they're like, look at this. And they show Dino Man that they just infiltrated. They have full power of this territory now. And Dino Man's like, then why am I lending Dinosaur? And he's like, this isn't fair. They're not actually protecting me. And so he gets in touch with the bad guys again. He's like, I have someone else I can give to you. And since they're like, oh yeah, totally, we'll take more animals. So he comes in and he's like, to test how much they're really working with him, he's like, I can give you guys a better, another thing, but in return, I want you to give us Dinosaur. I want you to give me Dinosaur back. And since they don't want to give up any of what they own, they're like, not going to do that. And he's like, what you don't realize is that I'm controlling him. And he tells him, come over here, start pushing back. And then Dinosaur like kicks off Thor and starts attacking like the enemies. So he starts working with the good guys and like, oh god. They try to fight back, but since they weren't expecting, they were just expecting like a meeting with Dino Man. He's able to obviously not kill anybody, but sort of take down some of the power that they had. They're left without a top bad guy pen. And he starts working with the good guys and giving them
I think that does the storyline perfect. I think Dino Man also, really caring about that territory at first, as like a big part of it. I mean, as well as the protection. I think Dino Man being very territorial and caring about his territory and the protection around his territory is a really cool concept that could be worked with.
Mammoth. Who would Mammoth go to?
I don't know. I think
Rahh.
Yeah, I definitely think it'd be
more Magnon. I think he'd be a good.
Yeah, or possibly even like, not even like a beast that they would ride, but possibly like
a protectional.
Yeah, and it could like I can totally see it like charging at enemies and like, maybe like a
like Indian
like a tank beast like fight alongside.
Like Indian battle elephants. Except he's a mammoth, he's 2 times bigger.
Yeah. And then for Tiger, I feel like I can see Tiger being kind of like a mount for some of the lower ranking characters on the evil side, actually. Like, I feel like Baltard and Tiger. And this might just be because that's the first, like, when I think of Tiger's packaging, the first thing I think of is Baltard and Tiger packaged together. I think that's a pretty common one for Tiger.
I just see Tiger as being such a that he would go so well with Tiger Man.
Yeah.
Like, we've already established this Dinosaur and Dino Man dynamic, since Tiger Man and Dino Man are the two neutrals.
Mhm.
Then, since there's a dinosaur and a tiger, there also need the tiger. I feel like should be also another neutral.
Yeah. Or I feel like another good reason though for Tiger to be on the evil side is if maybe like Tiger has been like from the beginning, Tiger is like a mount for the bad guys. Maybe it's used by different members at different times, but then they meet Dino Man and they get the deal with Dinosaur, and then the good guys realize that, and that's when they're kind of exploring Dino Man's territory and run into him and talk to him. And then
That was the storyline when they fight. Yeah, push back.
Yeah, and then when Dino Man gets Dinosaur back, maybe the bad guys kind of leave Dino Man's territory alone, move elsewhere, and then then it's back to just a bit more even with where there's Mammoth and then Tiger. And I was forgetting about Horse, so I guess they do still have Horse as well. But I could see Tiger maybe being a smaller, much smaller than Mammoth, so maybe a less powerful mount. Obviously, Tigers are still very powerful, but that's why it might be with like the lower ranking fighters on the evil side.
So I think I don't think Tiger would necessarily seems like a good candidate for like an actual warrior fighting for good or evil, because he would just go so well with Tiger Man. But I could see a storyline where Tiger originates as a bad guy, very low rank bad guy,
Mm-hmm.
And then there could be a cool storyline where, so Dino Man is, we've established him as just very much caring about his territory and safety of his animals and dinosaurs, but Tiger Man could be more of just like a hot-headed caring about like possession, so he could to just be like a cool guy that doesn't really fight for anything. But since he's so neutral, the good guys are like, okay, we have Dino Man on our side. Let's go to Tiger Man and be like, hey, Tiger Man, we know that the evil guys, the bad guys, the evil side, they have this sick tiger mount that they're using and they're like, and he's like, oh, okay, he must be like the highest rank because Tiger Man's like, this is like big-headed, just like egotistical guy. He's like, okay, highest rank, right? He's like the big guy, and they're like, no, he's at the lowest. Baltard's riding him, and he's like, what? No, this can't be. So they're like, okay, if you work with us, our first priority will be to get you Tiger.
Yeah.
So then he works with the good side. So then they have the good side has both neutral people on their team because they're both fighting for a thing that they care about.
Yeah.
And then that could be a good way to kill off Tiger Man too. Is he's like, give me Tiger, and he runs in thinking he's so good, and then Sahak and Thor come in and they're just like, yeah, you're dead, Bucko, and he's like, and just immediately dies.
I can totally see that.
By the foot of like the dinosaur, like they don't even need Sahak to make a plan. Like it's just so easy to take him out.
I see Tiger Man maybe being more like more of like a caring character, very neutral, but like cares for good, but doesn't want to be in the fight. Maybe doesn't resonate with either of the causes or whatever. And he he's just kind of doing his own thing, staying out of the battle. And maybe at one point the battle gets kind of close to where he lives or whatever. And he sees Tiger out on the battlefield, and he's like, oh, caring for animals or whatever. He sees Tiger, and he's like, that's not good. Tiger shouldn't be out there forced to fight. He should, live a more peaceful life. And so maybe he talks with the good guys and has a plan to free Tiger. And then Tiger is freed. And then in the end, Tiger is able to be freed and lives with Tiger Man on his property or whatever.
There could be a really cool thing here. So since the two neutral guys are both like territory owners,
yeah,
there could be a really cool thing. I don't know. The territory owner didn't even mean it. Forget that I said that. I don't even know why I said that. I was just kind of thinking about that. But I just like a really cool storyline. So what you just said could, yeah, that happens. Like that happens. Like he comes in, he's like, I have this plan, and he goes in. He's like, I have this plan. Like, can you guys execute this? I'll help you with it. I just want to help this tiger because he's with a very low-ranked warrior that could die at any second, and so could he or be whatever. Like, I feel really bad. And they're like, all right. And so like he has this plan to, somehow get Baltard into a bad spot where he's not too covered. So they're able to easily kill Baltard and get this tiger. And they're like, and they free the tiger, and then the good guys are like, this is incredible. Like, your plan worked flawlessly. It worked perfectly. Could you join our team and help us execute more plans? And he becomes like the Sahak of the good guys' side. Where they find out that he's actually a very smart person that isn't very strong, but makes up for it as a very smart like leader, just like Sahak.
I love that, but I might be a little biased here. Of course, Baltard being my favorite, but I think it might, especially since Baltard might be one of a main character because he's, a very popular and main character in the line. Rather than killing Baltard, because it's already kind of established with like Thalos and the bootleg zones endings, that Baltard is kind of a more stupid character. He isn't very intelligent, and they could possibly trick Baltard, like throw a rock. Baltard looks over, hops off Tiger, checks it out, and then they steal Tiger, and maybe even they take in Baltard as like a prisoner, and then the next day Sahak has to like get a plan to try and rescue Baltard and Tiger, and maybe he isn't successful in getting Tiger back, but he is able to get Baltard back, which isn't what he was hoping for, but that's what happens. And so Baltard is still like in the series, but he's like completely tricked, and Tiger is taken, and everybody is very mad at him.
Yeah, I see that as a good storyline if you were making a Motu style kids show.
Mm-hmm.
The way that I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking of it more as like if this were an actual thing, an actual storyline, this was all actually happening, what would happen here? I think of this more as if it was a show, of it being more of like an adult show where deaths happen and like there is stuff where like, since Baltard is so dumb, they're easily able to kill him, and he's not usually, so it could be like a really unexpected thing where they're just like, because in the end, I'd think of the ending of the show or the ending of the story or whatever being bad guys come out triumphant and almost everybody's dead. Sahak's dead, Spikes is dead, Magnon's dead, and the only people remaining like remaining is like Deevil, Thor, and Rahh, because
Yeah.
that's how they end up winning the war. And Rah's like, I give up, and he leaves, stops.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like,
I mean,
yeah. So they kill Baltard. They Sahaks, and then Tiger Man becomes a Sahak and whatever. And then I'm not really thinking of a good storyline to kill off Tiger Man, but in the end, that does happen at some point.
I can see like Tiger Man being like wounded at some point in battle, and maybe it's like in the final battle, and like while everybody's like, the last characters are like you're seeing they're dying or whatever, and maybe Tiger in the midst of that, Tiger Man is injured, and then he ends up like telling someone like, no, you keep going, I can't make it, and then he lies down and pretty much dies. With the Baltard thing we were just talking about, though, I think with them being the heroes, I think only killing somebody if they have to, which when they're in the big battles, of course, there's going to be a lot more deaths because they actually pretty much are forced to.
They would kill him under Tiger Man's leadership, which his only objective was to save Tiger.
Yeah, but I can also see Tiger Man being kind of like a more caring individual, and that's why he wanted to save Tiger. And so maybe they left Baltard all like tied up, but I don't know. That might again just be me biased, but I love Baltard.
Because I didn't want but as like a dumb character, he can't have like a real noble death.
Yeah, I know. I don't see Baltard as having a
storyline,
like comic relief throughout the whole show. For like laughs, maybe he does end up dying in the final battle, but not nobly. He's just like at the very beginning of the battle to start it off, he has like a spear to his head or something, like right off the bat, starting the fight or whatever.
Anyway, it's really good idea for a Tiger Man death storyline.
Yeah.
So Tiger Man, becomes the Sahak like character.
Yeah.
For the good guys, and Tiger Man's like, so and eventually, as the story's like wrapping up, coming to an end, the bad guy start overwhelming the good guys and start taking out more and more of the people and gaining more and more like power and stuff and start winning.
Mm-hmm.
Tiger Man is like worried, and so he eventually like waits for like a fight to die down, and he goes out into like one of the battlefields to be like, guys, stop, we'll come back, we're gonna recuperate. So he goes out there, and then the war or the battle that he thinks was over starts back up again, and he's in the middle of this crossfire, and everyone's shooting at each other and then attacking each other. He doesn't know how to fight, and eventually he gets wounded. Someone fights off whoever was hurting him, and he gets really hurt, and he goes back, and he's on the brink of death. That battle comes to an end. Everyone comes back, and they're like, "Your Tiger Man's gonna die. His injuries are just too bad." So he's like, "Don't let me die this way. Let me try to get into Sahak's head." So eventually, like he thinks of a plan to get Sahak alone somehow. It works. He gets Sahak alone, and then wherever Sahak is, Sahak's alone. He's like, "What's going on?" Tiger Man comes out from wherever and just walks to Sahak, and Sahak's ready to kill him, and he goes, "I'm just like you." And he's explaining his backstory and the reason and why he's fighting, and Sahak's like, "Wow." And then eventually, like, Sahak is, connecting more with Tiger Man, and Tiger Man just, like, staring right there, just, falls to his knees and just dies right in front of Sahak, and Sahak's like, "I'm not a good guy, but I see myself in this guy's shoes," and he's just looking at Tiger Man's like, corpse.
Yeah.
And then somehow, they take out Sahak, and that can be like the way that they get Sahak.
Yeah.
And then that cool thing where Spikes is a good guy, and he does that thing where he just like rams through the Sahak, taking all of them out.
Yeah, that would be great, and I think that's where, like with Sahak thinking about those things that Tiger Man said, and really seeing himself in Tiger Man's position, he could be maybe caught off guard and kind of like zoning out for a second when
He's like thinking about what's gonna happen next, and then they just like
and then Spike's is like rammed into him.
So like he's looking up, and then he just hears and he's like, "What?" He looks up and just like just ran by horse. They all fly off a cliff.
Yeah, or maybe it's like if Spikes is a villain, maybe it's like Magnon on Mammoth or something like.
Oh shit! And just gets like fucking absolutely.
Yeah, and that's where Magnon's taken out. Maybe some noble death with Spikes. So then there is Rahh, and then like Deevil and Thor.
All left, yeah, and then they end up winning because it's just too much.
Yeah,
but yeah, that was kind of a lot to talk about this episode. Like we didn't really talk about much figures as creating an entire universe for the Galaxy Warriors, but that was really fun.
Yeah, and if you've enjoyed watching this, and check out some of our other episodes. We'll probably do a part 2 for this one. And also check out our YouTube channel.
Universes for
Yeah. My YouTube channel is Eden's Figure Collection.
And mine is Character Figures.
Yeah, we both do some in-depth videos on vintage toy lines, primarily bootlegs and knockoffs like the Galaxy Warriors.
Yeah, so we will see you in the next episode, and that's it.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
Bye.